Students, today we are learning about body fluids and circulation. Okay, how materials are circulated or transported in the blood. This is transportation of materials in the body, that is body fluids and circulation. So many organisms, like simple organisms like sponges, poriferans, coelentrates, they transport water throughout the body. Water is transported. So along with water, taking water into the body and leaving water out of the body. While doing that, it will gather food also along with water, and it will take exchange of gases also happen. Along with the water, dissolved oxygen is taken, then waste product is left to water. So water is circulated in the whole body. There in simple organisms. In higher organisms, they have different body fluids. Like human beings, only you take body fluids, which is a medium, liquid medium for transportation of many materials. Like in last chapter, we have learned that oxygen and carbon dioxide is transported through blood, because oxygen binds to hemoglobin of blood. Then oxygen mixed blood, oxygenated blood from the heart goes to all the body parts. So that is how in higher organisms body fluids are either blood or it is lymph. Not or, and, because we have blood also, we have lymph also. Okay, so blood is a major liquid present in the body, major fluid present in the body, which is used for transportation of many materials in the body. Lymph also, to certain extent, it transports some materials. So it is body fluids used for transportation of certain substances or certain materials in the body. Okay, so now we are going to learn, as the chapter is body fluids, and the body fluids are blood and lymph, how they are circulated to whole body. We are going to learn. Definitely we know that there is a special organ, that is heart. Heart is a pumping organ. It is meant for pumping blood to whole body. Okay, along with blood, it pumps oxygen and carbon dioxide also. So exchange of gases also happen. There are certain materials also transported, like hormones. Some hormones are also transported through blood. Hormone is produced, suppose, in the pituitary gland in the brain. How it reaches remaining parts of the body? Definitely through blood. In some cases, if it is endocrine gland, if it is exocrine gland, they have separate vessels meant for it. So medium is liquid medium, that is blood. Through blood some materials are transported. Okay, so we are going to learn first type of body fluid, that is blood, in detail. Blood has two parts majorly. Before that, what is blood? Blood is a liquid connective tissue means, liquid connective tissue means it connects almost all parts of the body. So we know that whole body has blood. Blood is distributed in the whole body. So it's a liquid connective tissue, connects most of the parts of our body. So almost every part of the body. Then blood has two parts. Two parts are there in the blood. First one we will see. It is called plasma, which is a fluid matrix. Fluid matrix means liquid part. So you can categorize into two parts. Blood has two parts. One is liquid part, other one is solid part. Okay, liquid part is called plasma, that is called fluid matrix, means liquid part. Then other part is there, that is solid part. They are called formed elements. Formed elements. What all comes under formed elements? Like RBCs, red blood corpuscles. What do you say? Red blood cells? No, it is not cell, it is red blood corpuscles. Then WBCs, white blood corpuscles. Then platelets. Okay, blood platelets, which is required for clotting of blood. There are rakta heppugatlike. To stop bleeding, platelets are required. So these are solid parts, cells, solid part. So red blood corpuscles, white blood corpuscles, platelets, all these are formed elements, which is a solid part, and liquid part is plasma. Okay, so suppose if plasma is there, it is called plasma when it contains platelets, because plasma also contains some part of platelets. Okay, because we know that plasma and formed elements both are mixed together to produce blood, So definitely plasma contains this platelets. So if plasma doesn't contain platelet, that is plasma without platelets or without clotting factors, if plasma doesn't contain platelets, plasma without platelets, it is called serum. So if plasma contains platelets, okay, then if plasma doesn't contain platelets, then it is called serum. So the word plasma and serum are completely different. What difference you find there? Plasma is with platelets, serum is without platelet. Okay, so when platelet is present, it is called plasma. When platelet is not there, it is called serum. So we are going to learn in detail about these parts. So first we will learn about plasma, then we will learn about formed elements in detail. Okay, so first one we will discuss about plasma of blood. Plasma doesn't contain red color. Red color is because of coloring pigment present, that is hemoglobin. Without hemoglobin, plasma doesn't contain hemoglobin. Plasma is straw colored. It is straw colored. You know what is straw color? Like dry grass, dry grass. That is almost light yellowish. Okay, that is straw colored. Okay, almost if you can see this color, what you see here, this color. Okay, so it is straw colored and it constitutes 55% of blood. In the blood, 55% is plasma only. Remaining 45% is formed elements, that is red blood corpuscles, white blood corpuscles, platelets, all come under 45% of blood. 55% of the blood is only plasma. Okay, so then what that plasma contains? It contains 90 to 92% water and 6 to 8% protein. Okay, this plasma contains 90 to 92% water. Plasma contains is a statement. Plasma contains 90 to 92% of water and 6 to 8% proteins. As we discussed, 55% of the blood is only plasma, 45% is formed elements, that is RBCs, WBCs, platelets. So plasma contains what? What it contains chemically? 90 to 92% only water, 6 to 8% proteins it contains. Okay, other than that, what else it contains? It contains, what all proteins it contains? It contains fibrinogens, it contains globulins, it contains albumins as major proteins. There are many other proteins also, but these are the important major proteins present in large quantity. Okay, so fibrinogens are required for this protein. Fibrinogen is required for clotting of blood, or also called as coagulation of blood. Coagulation or clotting of blood means, if suppose one small cut is there, bleeding starts. At some time bleeding stops, you know, there is one dark reddish or brownish mass is produced which blocks blood flow. That is called clotting. Okay, bleeding will be stopped. That is called clotting or coagulation of blood. That is because of this protein called fibrinogens. Okay, then why globulins are required? Globulins, like we say immunoglobulins, no? Immunoglobulins, in short we call IG. This is nothing but antibodies. Other name for antibodies is immunoglobulins. You know what is antibody? Now we are learning about COVID-19, corona disease, you know. When virus enters, virus or any bacteria or any disease causing organism or non-living also, anything outside, foreign material enters our body, it is called antigen. Antigen. Gen means to produce, anti means against. It is not a part of our body. Like I am talking about now chalk dust, okay. Chalk dust entered my nose. It is also antigen only. I may sneeze because of dust entering into the nose. You know, when so much dust is there, we sneeze. That is a reflex. Body shows reflex. So then what is that vaccine? Vaccine contains dead virus only. When it is injected to the body, our body produces antibodies. Antibodies are produced by white blood corpuscles. Now, bili rakta kanagalu antivalla, white blood corpuscles. Then that antibodies protects us. It gives immunity to our body. No, that vaccine is given for what purpose? Vaccine is given so that body produces antibodies, and that antibodies will protect us from disease. If any living live virus enters, antibodies will kill it and we are safe. So globulins gives immunity to our body, ability to fight or ability to resist diseases. No, ability to fight with germs is immunity. Okay, so these are the major proteins. Then why albumins are required? It is required for maintaining osmotic balance or osmotic pressure, or you can say osmotic balance of the body. Means balance of body fluids, the pressure of body fluids. You know what is osmoregulation means. Already we have learnt in detail. Osmoregulation means liquid content of our body, fluid of our body will be in a balanced state. Like, I'll give example. We drink water and we go for urination, that is loss of water from the body. When you urinate, water is lost from the body, then we feel thirsty and we drink water, so that lost water we regained it. Okay, so that is how body fluid is balanced. Water content in the body is balanced. So okay, I hope you understood. So these are three major proteins present in the plasma of blood. You understood what is the importance. Fibrinogen is required for clotting of blood. If clotting of blood doesn't happen, you know what happens. Clotting disorders will get continuous loss of blood and person will die. Then globulins protect us, gives immunity. Without immunity, person is zero, you know. Any simple disease also can kill him. No, person who doesn't have immunity will die because of COVID-19, you know. Person having very good immunity can control or can resist the disease. Then albumins Albumins control osmotic pressure of body fluids. Okay, so this is very important. Then other than this, what else is there in the body? Plasma also contains some minerals. Plasma also contains some minerals. What minerals? Like sodium Na plus, calcium Ca2 plus, magnesium Mg2 plus. Then it contains bicarbonates, chlorine, HCO3 minus, HCO3 minus, that is called bicarbonates. It contains chlorides. Okay, so these are the minerals present in the plasma. Then you may ask, what is the function of these minerals? It's not given in the book. Generally I am asking for general science knowledge. During loose motion, what happens? You know, I am not talking about I mean, what kind of excreta is released? I am not talking about that. Along with water, watery stool will be released, you know, watery excreta. Along with that, water is also lost. Then important minerals present in our body, which is required for giving energy to our body, is also lost. So we regain that minerals by drinking ORS, you know, oral rehydration solution. That is the powder what we mix with water, that contains minerals. If you look at that packet, it will show Na plus, Ca plus, no, that is all the minerals we have lost, so we are getting it back by drinking it. So that is required for giving energy to our body. Minerals are required, you know, we call electrolytes. No, they are required to our body. It is present in plasma. Okay, and always they are present in the body. And I told you, it is called plasma when it contains platelets. Without platelets, I told you already, we know plasma without platelets is called serum. You know, Serum Institute of India is there, one famous institute which produces vaccines. You know, serum means, you know, plasma without platelets, okay. So this is about plasma. Next we will learn about next part. So chalk fell, sorry. Next we are going to learn chalk is required. Second part of blood, we have just discussed liquid part of blood. Now we have to discuss formed elements, which is a solid part of blood, suspended solid part of blood. That is called formed elements, which includes RBCs, WBCs and platelets. Formed elements. What comes under formed element? It includes RBCs, that is red blood corpuscles, WBCs, that is white blood corpuscles, and platelets. Okay, now we are going to learn it one by one. And what percentage it constitutes? Formed elements constitute 45% of blood, because 55% of blood is plasma, 45% is solid part, suspended formed elements. Okay, first we will learn about RBCs, that is red blood corpuscles, also called as erythrocytes. Not in English, you know, most of the words in biology are derived from Latin or Greek. As per that, erythrocytes means red blood corpuscles. RBC, full form, red blood corpuscles. We don't say corpuscles, that is wrong pronunciation. So it is called corpuscles. In short, RBC. Okay, they are called erythrocytes. It is most abundant of all the cells in the blood. Compared to WBCs, platelets and all, RBCs are in more number. in what number? They are most abundant, means present in very large quantity compared to WBC and platelets. Most abundant cells, okay, compared to other cells, and it is present in what quantity? 5 million to 5.5 million RBCs are there per cubic millimeter of blood. mm raised to minus 3, 5 million to 5.5 million. 5 million to 5.5 million red blood corpuscles are there per cubic millimeter of blood. Okay, one small part of blood, cubic millimeter, contains 5 million to 5.5 million red blood corpuscles. That is the number of red blood corpuscles. Okay, where they are produced? They are produced in red bone marrow in the adults. RBCs are all the blood cells, whether it is red blood corpuscles, white blood corpuscles or platelets, all the blood cells are produced by bone marrow only. Okay, bone marrow is very important. So it is produced in red bone marrow in adults. Red bone marrow in adults. And in mammals, in most of the mammals, RBCs doesn't contain nucleus. So red blood corpuscle is a cell which doesn't contain nucleus. But you should know that when it is young cell contains nucleus, but mature cell, red blood corpuscle, doesn't contain nucleus. So they are enucleated. The word enucleated means without nucleus. So RBCs are enucleated and they are produced in red bone marrow in adults. You see, enucleated, very important, because white blood corpuscles contain nucleus. Red blood corpuscle, ಕೆಂಪು ರಕ್ತ ಕಣಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಕೋಶ ಕೇಂದ್ರ ಅಥವಾ ಬೀಜ ಕೇಂದ್ರ ಇಲ್ಲ. So that is, in RBCs nucleus is not present, it is enucleated cell. Okay, then they have, what shape they have? The shape of shape of RBC, shape of RBCs. If you see shape of RBC, it is biconcave shape. Biconcave meaning, this is biconcave shape. Both the sides concave. It is biconcave shaped. Okay. Then why blood is red in color? Because blood is red because of pigment, coloring pigment, which contains iron. Iron containing red pigment means red protein called hemoglobin. You know already, I don't have to tell you. In last chapter we have learnt it. Hemoglobin is present. Okay, iron containing, iron means ferrous, ferric, Fe2 plus, Fe3 plus, we say, that is ferrous, ferrous ions. So ferric ions, sorry. Iron containing red pigment. Hemoglobin is a protein part. Especially in hemoglobin there are two parts. This is not there in the book, just for your knowledge I am saying. Globin is a protein. Heme is a prosthetic group, like functional group in chemistry, what you say, prosthetic group. Then globin is a protein, two parts are there. So hemoglobin is a coloring pigment, coloring protein present, which gives red color, and that hemoglobin pigment contains iron as central metal ion. One central metal ion is there, that is called iron. You know, iron is one element in the periodic table, you know, I don't have to tell you. Okay, so ನಾವು ಕಬ್ಬಿಣ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಲ್ಲ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ, ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ iron containing red pigment, hemoglobin. So what percentage of hemoglobin is there in adults per 100 ml of blood? It is 12 to 16%. And for boys it is different, for girls it is different, depending on the physical ability. Depending on the physical ability, like I am not differentiating male and female here. As per science, we know that hemoglobin content in female is less, hemoglobin content in male is more. Okay, physical ability means I am not differentiating male and female here. Even in the sports also, if you see sports category also, like shot put and all, if you see, weight of the shot put will be less for female, depending on the ability, physical ability. Okay, so hemoglobin present in the blood for 100 ml of blood, 12 to 16 grams will be there in adult. For 100 ml of blood contains 12 to 16 grams of hemoglobin. In healthy adults, grown up, in healthy adults every 100 ml of blood contains 12 to 16 grams of hemoglobin. Usually we consider for female it is 11 to 12 grams for 100 ml. For male it is 13 to 14. It goes up to 16 maximum. Okay. So in some people, if hemoglobin is less, no need to worry. There are some food, no, by consuming such food, doctors will suggest, by consuming such food, hemoglobin content can be increased. Okay. Naturally it can be increased without taking any medicine, just by taking particular food. What kind of food? If you want, you can search in Google. What kind of food should be taken to increase hemoglobin content? You can search. Okay, so hemoglobin content I just told you. Then, what is the function of hemoglobin pigment? It is required for transport of gases. Previous chapter, respiration, breathing and exchange of gases, we have already learned. Transport of oxygen and transport of carbon dioxide. So, for transport of gases, hemoglobin is required, you know very well. Okay, its function is transport of gases, exchange of gases. Then what is the lifespan of RBC? How many days it can survive? Lifespan of RBCs. It is 120 days. 120 days. After 120 days, RBCs die, okay, and it is transported to special organ that is called spleen. You know where it is present. Spleen present here, okay, just above the pancreas, you see spleen, and spleen is called, that is why spleen contains dead RBCs. That is why spleen is called graveyard of RBCs. Graveyard of RBCs. Graveyard means, you know, where dead bodies are kept, like mortuary. Not graveyard, where dead bodies are burnt. That area now smashana antivalla hange. Okay, Shamshan Ghat. So graveyard of RBCs, because dead RBCs will be finally removed through spleen. It is stored in the spleen, so it is called, spleen is called graveyard of RBCs. So this is about one part of formed element, that is RBCs we have learnt. Next what we have to learn is WBC. Next we have to learn platelets. Okay, so RBCs already we have learnt. Now next what we have to learn is WBCs, white blood corpuscles. Chalk. White blood corpuscles, in short we call WBCs. Okay, so if red blood cells, red blood corpuscles, RBCs are called erythrocytes, white blood corpuscles are called leukocytes. You can also call leukocytes. Okay, so they are colorless. White blood corpuscles are colorless. Why they are colorless? Because they don't contain red pigment called hemoglobin. Colorless without hemoglobin. Because white blood corpuscle function is defense mechanism of the body, giving immunity to the body. Okay, so they don't contain a red color pigment. That's why they are colorless. That's why we call them white blood corpuscles. If hemoglobin is present, then it should be called as red blood corpuscle. They are not red in color. Okay, they are colorless without a red pigment, and usually they are present in relatively less number compared to RBC. RBC is 5 million to 5.5 million per cubic millimeter of blood. This is just 6,000 to 8,000, relatively lesser in number, just on an average 6,000 to 8,000 per cubic millimeter of blood. For cubic millimeter of blood, 6,000 to 8,000 cells are present, that is WBCs. Okay, and their lifespan is not much like 120 days as in RBC. RBC is 120 days is lifespan. WBCs is lifespan is relatively lesser. They are short lived. Okay, so lifespan of WBC, they are short lived. They die early. They don't survive for 120 days and all like RBC. Their lifespan is very short. Okay, so there are two categories in WBCs, like granulocytes and agranulocytes. I'll rub this because I have to write more now. Classification I have to show. White blood corpuscles are of two types. One is called granulocytes. You had this in 10th standard, you already know. Other one is called agranulocytes. That is, hematin granules are present, then it is granulocyte. If hematin granule is not there, agranulocytes. Anyway, that hematin granule and all name is not there in the book. They have just mentioned granulocyte is one type of white blood cell and agranulocyte is other type. So white blood corpuscles have two categories or two groups. Okay, then granulocytes are of three types. Granulocytes are of three types, like neutrophils is one type, neutrophils. Then basophils are other type, and third type is eosinophil. White blood corpuscles are of two types, granulocytes and agranulocytes. And granulocytes are of three types: neutrophils, basophils, eosinophils. These names are given based on which type of stain it takes. Stain means color. Like neutrophils will take neutral stain, basophils will take basic stain, that is its pH is more than 7, and eosinophils takes acidic stain, so its name is like that. Anyway, in textbook why that name is given is not there, I just told you why names are like that. Then agranulocytes are mainly two types, that is monocytes and lymphocytes. Monocytes and lymphocytes. As I told you, white blood corpuscles function is immunity, major functions it does. Okay, so now first let us see under these 5 different types of cells here, I mean they are present in what quantity in the body, that we will see. Okay, so neutrophils are most abundant. 60 to 65% of WBC contains neutrophils. Out of all these 5 types, that is neutrophils, basophils, eosinophils, monocytes, lymphocytes, out of these 5 types, which is present in most number, abundant number, present in large quantity, is neutrophils. 60 to 65% of WBCs contain neutrophils. Then which is least? Basophils are least, very least, 0.5 to 1%, least in number, very less. Highest is neutrophil, is present in large quantity in WBC, and very less is 0.5 to 1%, that is basophils. Okay, then what about neutrophils and monocytes together? Okay, if you consider monocytes, what percentage they are present? 6 to 8%. 6 to 8% of WBC contains monocytes. Okay, then eosinophils are 2 to 3%. 2 to 3% is eosinophils. Okay, then neutrophils and monocytes are main cells. I will show with different color. Importance and function I will tell you. Neutrophils and monocytes, these two, neutrophils and monocytes, those two are phagocytic in function. They are phagocytic cells. What is meaning of phagocytic? Word phagocytic refers to cell eating, meaning those two, neutrophils and monocytes, are very important to the body for giving immunity. How? They act as phagocytic cells and they do the function called phagocytosis. Phagocytosis meaning, not an English word, its meaning is cell eating. Meaning, I will give you an example. If any bacteria enters your body, okay, how that bacteria is killed in your body? If that bacteria is not killed, it will bring disease to you. So it will be killed. What kills it? Neutrophils and monocytes will kill it. How? They will eat that bacteria. Okay, they will engulf that bacteria. That process of eating the bacteria is called phagocytosis. That is why I said neutrophils and monocytes are phagocytic in function. By eating the foreign body which enters our body, it gives immunity or protects our body. Okay, so this is how they protect our body. Okay, so in next class we will continue this process. Okay, process of learning. So keep watching my classes. Thank you.